This is the day the Lord has made, and I'm very glad, and I can't stop being grateful to the Almighty God, the author and finisher of our faith, to see you, beautiful women, elegant women, women of values and virtue, women of substance. And let me start by lifting profuse thanks to our keynote speaker, my own sister, Lema Bowie. She's an inspiration, not only to this country, but to the entire world. She's a citizen of Liberia, citizen of Africa, and a citizen of the world. Where did she come from? Humble beginnings. Struggle, as many of you have struggled or are struggling. Went to B.W. Harris right here. She's a Nobel Peace Prize winner for 20 doctorate degrees. Celebrated across the world. She's an author and a thinker. And she and I, we crossed some paths. You know, some of you know that I do poetry. In 2011, I sponsored a poetry competition, and we're giving prizes at City Hall. And she was one of the persons that I called to give some of the prizes. At that time, I released one of my pieces that she likes a whole lot, called Wild Cocoa, the Crown Coconut Commits. And I too follow her pieces and get inspired by them. And she just distributed one of them called The Little Book on Mother's Prayer. Here's the book. And I like her little books, but sometimes when it's bulky, people get scared to read. So sometimes I put these things, you know, with me. In difficult moments, I read and get inspired by things and by these thoughts. A book on Mother's Prayer. And I can testify about the strength of Mother's Prayer.
Thank you.
Because in my humble life, I've gone through the valley and shadow of death. I've gone through places. I've gotten opportunities because of the power of the bended knee of a mother. Everything that's come my way, the dangers that I've escaped in this dog-eat-dog world, in sometimes the concrete jungle that we call government, thanks to Mother's Prayer. And my mother and many other mothers here, and the sainted mothers who have transitioned to glory, who, because of them and their efforts, some of you are here, who recognize them. All of them that are in the bosom of Abraham, we say thank you to them for grooming you to come and help your country. Many times, my mother would call me to ask whether I've prayed. And, you know, the only thing I don't like, and she and I will always argue, is the length of the prayer. It's the length of the prayer. She and I will always argue She loves to pray long prayer. And I always say to her, you know, we gotta be sharp. We gotta be to the point. Because God has too many other questions to deal with. And but that's the question that checkmates me. And I have other mothers in my life, my wife, my daughters, professional colleagues. But I know my story is the story of many other persons. The mother's love is genuine. It's not fake. Not fake. When you are being inundated with pretenses and you want to see things real, interact with your mother. The country is advancing in a lot of ways in spite of our challenges. And let me talk about, you know, the unsung heroes. And I mean this public manner say that in this ministry we have a lot of unsung heroes. And many of them are mothers. They are contributing in their way. And you know, the World Peace Competition, this is a place where people come from different backgrounds, different religions, different political parties, different tribes, different countries. There's a melting pot. And we are all signed up for the noble journey of working to make our country better. That's the thing that unites us. And I have some images in my mind's eyes. You know, this big thing called the budget, you know, everybody talks about. And to know in critical hours, you know, they say you know generals when bullets are flying. You can go to war college and learn war. You learn the theories of war. When you earn your stripes, the war really starts. You know, I want war here. We have some war movements here. When we must deliver, there's a deadline-driven ministry. There are certain things, some deadlines are in law. We must meet deadlines. And when that time comes, we are in our mood. We are in our mood. The pressure from the law will hit me, and I will cascade the pressure. And the pressure will go everywhere. Some of you have felt the pressure. We put you through the pressure cooker, but you haven't melted. And I recall in the difficult weeks, 2 to 3 weeks of the budget process, people have to sleep here literally. Literally. And many of them are mothers. Many of them are mothers. I can never repay you for your sacrifice. To see that you leave your children and you come, and at those moments, you can even take the call of a partner, of a son, of a daughter, because you are attending to the nation's call. And you know, I got very moved. I will say it here. You know, I played soccer. Last August, I had an injury, and my knee, I haven't fully recovered yet. That's why the Dollars team hasn't seen me yet. Because when I was here before, I led the team to 2 championships consecutively. So pray for my quick recovery. So, you know, I had to go to a medical doctor to look at my knee. And the medical doctor told me something. One of our mothers here had to be rushed to that medical doctor. And you know, when I heard about it, I just thought it was a normal sickness and sometimes, you know, being creative. So people can be creative. And when the medical doctor told me what had happened to that person and attributed it to the fact that for weeks the person was practically laying down the floor here, and that it might have caused a big problem and had they not been rushed, you know, I felt guilty. Liberia felt guilty because that person was working for Liberia. That person was working for Liberia. That person is a mother. That is the occupational hazard that people here go through. And sometimes all you get is cynicism and criticism. But I said that's the job we sign up for. We are the ones in whose hands the nation's cake, you know, is put. To be at the Ministry of Finance is to be privileged in a lot of ways. There are more than 5 billion persons in this country. Not everyone can be called or is called an employee of the Ministry of Finance. Everywhere you are, think about that. You are mother. And so, I want you, yes, Lema told you that you take care of yourself. I support that. And don't do so at the expense of your family. I support that. I think if we were giving her some chance, she would have told you, take care of yourself. But don't do so at the expense of your nation. Because it is the nation's cake that is entrusted in our hands. You are significant. I told you the last time. We are the ones, based on what we do or don't do, we could make people to live or make people to die because of our inaction and slothfulness. So think about that. And many of you are doing that. But they say the reward, I always say, the reward of doing a good job is the burden to do more. So do more. You're going to be pushing this check for JFK, not because you work at JFK, but because you know mothers are going to JFK. Children depend on JFK. So don't have that detached perspective. It is not my ministry. No. The spirit of motherhood, the spirit of motherhood should make you to be concerned about certain things that are in this building. It may not be in your department. Wake up and go there and love it and push from your colleagues. This thing is delayed. It's going to affect the young people. It's going to affect mothers. Let's move fast. Let's put extra time. That's the spirit of motherhood. Because by doing that, some young child in some country will get hope. And it's because of you. They may not know you, but in your little corner, the angels of blessings will drench you with blessings. So, go ahead. I'm very happy with this women organization. All your programs have been excellent, excellent, excellent. So that's why I said that we will continue to support this profusely. In the first program, you brought the Minister of Education here. Dr. Jaso Jara, who inspired you. The second program, you have brought a Nobel Peace Prize winner. You know? So, we cannot wait for your third program. We cannot wait. And you know, this is a place of learning. This is a place of inspiration. I said the last time, it's a famous quote. 10 years of study in a library does not compare with 1 hour of interaction with a wise man or wise woman. What Lema has told you, the practical things she has told you. Many of you go to conferences, we are sending you to workshops, and what have you. Some of the things that make you to succeed and excel are these little trinkets, you know, of wisdom. Take them, drink from them, and transform your life. Yes. I want to congratulate the Deputy Minister for Budget and Planning. Honorable Tanya Bronson, a woman of dignity, a woman of grace, a woman of productivity. She has been in this business for long. You know, some of us, we had the uncomfortable burden of being young people managing old people. I was budget director when we hired her through the Senior Executive Service Program at the Bureau of the Budget, I think around 2007 or so. Returned from the States, came to Liberia, and since then, she's been a juggernaut in the Liberian budgeting arena. And, you know, in her department, you know, the thing about it is that people talk about gender imbalance. Gender imbalance. But when the imbalance favors women, as we call it, all department, Assistant Minister of Budget, technical focal point, go there. And the picture we took during the head, it caught me. When we submitted the budget, I submitted the budget and I came back and everybody was celebrating and took pictures. Almost 80% of the technical people were women. Women. And it struck me, I said, well, that's why we took A+++. So we'll continue to do more. So one of all the other honorees here. So you may not be honored, but you're honorable in your own way. You are alike to your child, your family, your community, your mosque, your church. If you are Buddhist or any other religion, you are alike anyway. So don't ask yourself, who am I? You are someone good. You are someone great. I would want to just end on something. You know, the issue of single mothers. And let me celebrate all the single mothers. I want to bring something up and it pisses me off as a man. That males, I'm not saying males without means, but even if you don't have means, you can have heart, you can have presence. Males with means will father children and think that that is the unilateral burden of a woman. There's no other injustice that compares to that. So any male in this society anywhere that does that, shame on you. No matter who you are. Shame on you. And for anyone who will have to be called by the Ministry of Gender to do what God obligates. In the Garden of Eden, there was some obligations that were given. For you to be sent to law to do what you should do. It's a big shame. It's great. So, a lot of you who are helping to raise children, some of whom you murdered yourself, some because you have a good heart. You are the heroes. You are the heroes of this country. Because great men have grown, they've come from single mothers. President Barack Obama probably was raised a single mother. So sometimes I say, when I do these philosophical reflections, that if Jesus Christ himself came when this ordinary woman Mary got pregnant, you know what the Sadducees and Pharisees were saying? How did she get pregnant? But sometimes, God's perfect will can come from human imperfection. Sometimes, God's perfect will springs from human imperfection. And I feel, philosophically we can debate that no one is on this earth by accident. Nobody. In spite of human imperfection. And I feel God designed, sorry I'm getting a little bit. That's why sometimes I say, in some philosophical argument, even in that way, I even forgive Judas. I forgive Judas. Because in his perfect will, in perfect action, God's perfect will was done. He became an instrument for the fulfillment of God's perfect will. So, I forgive Judas. Judas then and the Judases even today. Judas says in my life, I forget all and I will forget Judas says. Yes. But you didn't bring me here to preach today. But I want to say thank you again. It's also elegant, so classic, so beautiful. Go and serve your country. To some extent, you are not just only mothers of your children. The fact that we are the ones that take care of the country's cake, to some extent, we are mothers of Nigeria. Thanks for what you've been doing. I conclude by saying the reward we give you for doing well is the burden to do more. Thank you very much.